अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन। आज हम यहाँ पे आए हैं बॉबी कुमार कलोटी हैं हमारे बहुत प्यारे और पुराने दोस्त, और इनके यहाँ पे आज प्रोग्राम है। आज यहाँ पे प्रोग्राम है। इसके बारे में आपको बताता हूँ कि यहाँ पे आज आ रहे हैं ब्रॉक पियर्स। वो प्रेसिडेंशियल कैंडिडेट हैं और चाइल्ड एक्टर भी, वो चाइल्ड एक्टर भी रहे हैं। और डिज्नी फिल्म्स द माइटी डक्स, D2, द माइटी डक्स, द फर्स्ट किड, इसमें ही इज़ एन इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट फॉर प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स इन द 2020 यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन। तो जैसे ही वो आते हैं आपसे मुलाकात भी करवाते हैं उनकी। और ये हमारे साथ कम्युनिटी एक्टिविस्ट और चेस ग्रुप के ओनर CEO सैयद अलमदार शाह साहब हमारे साथ हैं। तो इनसे ज़रा पूछते हैं, बात करते हैं थोड़ी सी इस प्रोग्राम के बारे में। अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी।
थैंक यू सो मच सलमान भाई। बॉबी जी ने जब भी बुलाया है हम सारे इकट्ठे हुए, और वो जिस लिए भी बुलाए हमने तो आना ही आना है। तो आज आपको पता है कि वो लीडर ऑफ द कम्युनिटीज़ हैं, उन्होंने आज कॉल किया। सारी कम्युनिटीज हैं हमारी आई हुई साउथ एशियन, तो इंशाल्लाह ताला कैंडिडेट आ रहे हैं प्रेसिडेंशियल, उनसे मिलेंगे, पूछेंगे, देखेंगे क्या करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू शाह साहब। तो अभी अब देखते हैं इसके बाद जो है अभी आने वाले हैं चीफ गेस्ट, उनके साथ भी बात करें कि क्या इलेक्शन के बारे में वो किस तरह से आए हैं और आज़ाद इलेक्शन लड़े हैं, इंडिपेंडेंट हैं, मैं आपसे तफसील से तो इसको पाक US मीडिया को वॉच करते रहें, इसमें अच्छे अच्छे प्रोग्राम आपको लेके आएंगे।
We welcome you today on behalf of our dear Bobby Loti, who is hosting the presidential candidate nominee. It's a very unique moment for us. Most importantly, we need to recognize the man, Bobby Loti. I was just looking at a book inside, and the cover says, Jewels of India. You can't get a more appropriate title for this man who I've known for 33 years. He is not Jewels of India, he is the Jewel of India. I remember when I grew up, I had the fortune for very high education, and luckily I ended up being the university topper when I got a gold medal. And my father put a hand on my shoulder. He said, "Don't get carried away." I said, "Why do you say so?" He said, "Just because you got a gold medal and you are very well educated now doesn't make you the smartest man, not the most intelligent man." I said, "Why do you say so?" He said, "The world has seen the best emperor in the name of Akbar Khan. And he never went to school. So you can't be earning wisdom without or with degrees and with this education." And I don't think I really got it at that time. When I met Bobby 33 years ago, and I learned about his story, I was remembering my father. He was the man that my father was relating to. This guy never went to school. And I think teacher threw you out. But I mean what I say. I'm known to be very clear and concise about what I say. I'm not here to pamper anybody. He may be my brother at home. But in the presence of this august audience and a man who is going to be contesting for the president of US of A, he is the jewel of India. He speaks his mind. He is not worried. But he is simply brilliant. He's gifted. Let's welcome him. Bobby, please. We are proud of you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and long life.
I can't believe they did not put this forward here. You know why? They say that silent language is the loudest and the proudest and the smartest. I know you. That's why I appreciate all your kind words. Yes, all these many years. You know, they say you can tell how long I know you if they tell your friend, you can't do that. Friendship to me is a marriage. Because marriage is good if they continue married. It means you're living to your commitment in life. Same goes for me. I'm an honor and privilege of being friends because I do need to be friends more often than maybe even me because somebody had to keep me on the plan. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless. God bless America.
I just have. It's not about me. It's about the person I will introduce. But I owe each one of you, the bottom of my heart, to thank you. Sunday, I know most of you cover or visit your religious place or pre-commitments that you have with your family. In a shortest notice, since you are a guru in the media, I want you to know what time did it start? Last night? Last night, Amisha said, how come I didn't got no information yet? And my friend, Satnam Praj, he already was eating there. I said, Sanamji, you know you have to come. He said, do I have any other choice? I said, if you had the choice, I would not have asked. But I appreciate you being here. We start here yesterday around 6 media about that. No idea we're going to have a response. Thinking of it, but I had no idea. 6:30, call each one of them because of my friend. Because their word to me and my word to them is a bond. I do not just call upon them all the time. It is important. I do. And you can say or can see their presence speaks itself very loud. The love they have given to me is because my word to them, if I make it commitment, I keep it no matter what the price I have to pay. And that's the way it is. But if you give me a couple more seconds, actually minutes, I have to say thank you to every one of you individually. Mr. Kulvinder Vaj was sitting there. This man actually knows when I did not speak English at all. He was working in the garage, parking cars. I was a dishwasher. He lived on a second floor. I live on a third floor. And once in a while, I will go to him and I say, can you please put the address on my letter, which I was sending to my mom? Because I did not knew that time how to even write the address to send a letter back home. The time changed, but our friendship did not. Today, he said, I'm only going to quote his words. He thinks I speak better English than he did. It was not about English. It was the courage that he had given to me, the trust he given to me, the friendship he given to me. And I say this part of the story because of him. He's sitting here. One day in the middle of around 1,500 people gathering, there was a gap between our friendship. I didn't see him, he didn't see me, and he was with some friend. I think he paid almost $300 plate to attend that event where I was a chief guest. So he very proudly said, oh, that's my Bobby. I said, you really know him? He said, yeah. He said, when you call him, I don't think he's going to recognize you. He called me. I left the stage. I come down, gave him a hug. I say, I will talk to you after, but let me finish the program. Because I didn't want his sentiment, his belief in his friend will be questioned. I'm proud of you, Bulwinder. Then, I'm proud of you today, and always will be, no matter what profession we end up in. That friendship we start never will end. I use you as your example. Everyone here is very important. They all represent a large audience. Those audience trust them, what they write in their papers or what they do on the media. If you please forgive me, I'm going to individually should not introduce everyone. Because it's not fair, but you all know me personally. I'm looking in each person's eye and I'm saying, thank you for being here. Because you all are that important. So it's about, first I want to say thank you to Todd. Todd, come over here. You and Mukesh decided to wear a purple together. So we love you. Todd is my friend, just like you are, Bulwinderji. I met Todd when he came out of school. He came out of school, he had a stupid cheap card like we all did, business card. And in very important audience, after the event was over, Todd said, here's my card, my friend, these are the words, my friend, if I can be any help, let me know. I said, I usually only ask the God for help, nobody else. But since you offer, I thank you, and now we're going to be friends forever. And Todd became a friend. Today, Todd is the guru of the PR. When you say in New York, there's a Todd, and Todd. It doesn't matter if you're representing the hospital, representing the police department, in New York City, Nassau County, others, candidates versus so and so. Todd, I never get chance to tell you thank you publicly, so I abuse you many times with love. And just remember this media.
I just want to say a few words about my friend Bobby. So, I was young, those were good days. And when I was young, you look up for mentors. You look up for people out there to look up to rise and become someone to look up to as an inspiration, to be like that person someday when you grow up. So I remember years ago, as I'm growing up, I remember pulling up to the governor's man of New York, the governor Pataki, which most of you know, and I remember standing there trying to get hundreds of people trying to get in, and a car goes right by, goes to the gate and says, it's Bobby. Bobby who? Get the governor on the phone. It's Bobby. 2 seconds, the governor walked from the mansion straight out. This is the busiest day of the year, the state of the state of New York, where the governor gives the keynote speech to talk about the budget and what's happening throughout the state of New York. But he knew he had to greet Bobby, because Bobby was that important. Bobby worked 24 hours, 7 days a week, to try to make our lives better. He tries to help us better in the South Asian community. He tries to make it, in all our communities, in Hicksville, in Manhattan, throughout the country, throughout India, throughout the world, because he cares about people. There are a lot of people you meet that say, they have their hands out or they want something. This man has never asked me for anything other than giving my heart and soul and doing a good job and making people happy and really making you feel proud of yourself. There's no one in the world I can think of who's a better friend to all of us, a better humanitarian, and a better person than Bobby. And Bobby, I thank you for the opportunity and thank you for bringing this person here. I know most people don't know. I mean, they know the name of Donald Trump, they know the name of Joe Biden. But this person here is a very, very special candidate. First, he's on the ballot in New York State. So, if you look up, you'll see his name on the ballot. Brock Pierce is a very, very special human being. Those of you who watch movies or American movies, stuff, he was in the movie First Kid. He was in the Mighty Ducks. He was in other future blockbuster, multi-million-dollar movies. But one day he woke up. He said, "You know what? I want to give back to the community." Just like Bobby does every day. But he wanted to do something special. He wanted to serve the people of the United States of America. He didn't have to. Why would anybody want to get into politics, especially today? But this is a courageous young man who wants to give his life to the public. And it's very, very. We hear his words and we hear his story. He's not a person who grew up with a trust fund, baby, or his dad was a billionaire, now he's a millionaire, or he had some special interest out there. All he's doing is giving, wanting to help. And you hear his story, you're that person. Anyway, first of all, I wasn't supposed to be up here, but I want to thank Bobby. He's amazing. Man. Let's hear a round of applause for Bobby. Come on. He really is a great guy.
Thank you, Todd, for the kind words, and we are friends forever. That's the way I know. That's the way I make friends. I don't make friends for convenience. To me, friends is the opportunity. And never compromise it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. At least you made my life easier to think about that. Okay, so I don't have to say those things which you already said. I want to say what you didn't say, but you already know. And that is, Brock, if he gives you a word, he keeps his word. He believes in what you and I believe in. A family, a business, education, and to live free without fear. He believes in when you have the rights, your right should not be deprived over someone else. He stand up for all, he believes in all, compromise none when it should not be compromised. If I did not believe that, and you all know, I wouldn't be standing here, I would not be standing with him. You know, as your friend, as a media, even though you represent the media, but to me, I represent you and you represent me because we trust and respect each other. We believe in each other. So, because he has the same principle, Mr. Pierce, is all about you today, this moment. This community is most vibrant South Asian community. They expect nothing for nothing, but they do believe to contribute to their country. This is their country, adopted country, some are born here. They are as proud, if not more, that somebody is born. Because they made a choice. They choose to be in this country. They are as active, if not more, than any American should be. They are proud Americans. We believe in the same way. So I have the honor and privilege to call you a friend. Welcome to our house. The reason I use the word our, because it's not mine, it belongs to all these my friends. I always tell them, I only work here, but this is your office. I present you, my friend, your friend, to be a leader, a person who cares, respect, and believe in freedom. My friend, your friend, Brock Pierce, the next president of the United States.
I'd like to thank my friend Bobby. I'd like to thank Todd and all of you for taking the time to come here because it is about all of us. Starting with our families, our communities, villages, our cities, our states, and ultimately the United States. A time where this country feels very divided. We feel divided racially, politically, economically, at a time where we are facing real existential threats. What we do now matters. Our voices matter. Our voices count. If ever there was a moment to stand up for what we believe in, to speak our truth, now is the time to act. I'm asked, why are you doing it? Why would you run for president? The short answer is love. I love this country. I love everyone that lives in it. This country is hurting. This country is in a state of fear, turning against each other, and forgetting that we're in this together. And I hope to deliver a message from the heart to remind us what this is all about. Every time we've been through challenging situations, the Great Depression, World War I, World War II, during our greatest challenges, during our most difficult moments, we have found a way to unify around a collective vision and to move forward. We are again in one of those moments in history. It's one of those moments in time where we have the opportunity to come together again and find a path forward. As long as we have a vision, as long as we have an aim, a goal, where are we going? Right now, it feels like we're just going in circles. It doesn't seem to matter whether we're on the left or we're on the right. It doesn't feel like we're making progress because we don't have a goal. We don't see what I consider to be leadership. Leadership to me is someone with vision, someone that can inspire you, someone that can educate and inform you. And when problems are presented, they can put forth solutions to those problems. Leadership to me is not putting people down. Leadership to me is bringing people up. And we don't have that kind of leadership. We're not seeing that when we turn on the television and we look at the media. We're seeing a lot of criticism. And that criticism of each other and that putting each other down is not going to bring us together. That is not the path forward. The path forward is going to come from the heart, remembering to fear less and to love more, to be compassionate and patient and understanding. You know, that we are living through very difficult times, and how do we show up for each other? How do we stand up for each other? You know, this is, I think we're doomed if we don't do something different. What has served us in the past is no longer going to serve us in the future. Albert Einstein is often credited with this quote, that doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. I look around and things look crazy. You know, what kind of future do we want to live in? This is the question we need to ask ourselves, each and every one of us. Because we only have the power to change ourselves. But as we better ourselves, as we change to be the best version of ourselves, we have the ability to inspire others, to really define our communities, our villages, our cities, our states, and ultimately our nation. And we can be the United States of America again. You know, we can bring America together again if we choose to do that individually. Each one of us has that choice. And what do we choose? What kind of America do we want to live in? The future is going to happen to you, or it's going to happen with you. So let's co-create a future that we all want to live in, one that works for every American, one that works for all of us and leaves no one behind. We have the ability to do this. We have the ability to take care of everyone in this country. We are the wealthiest nation in the world. We don't have a resource problem. We have a resource allocation problem. We have an efficiency problem. We have an accountability problem. You know, we have a government that's grown out of control. It's grown without a plan. You know, it's time to upgrade the operating system of the United States of America. It's time to create an America 2.0 when we say we the people, that actually means all of the people. That is inclusive of everyone. So as a goal, historically, how have nations measured their success? Historically, we've been measuring our success by growth. Growth for growth's sake. To just grow is good, but not really. That assumed that we had infinite resources, that we could just keep expanding and growing, and that there'd be more land. And we've realized for some time now that we don't have infinite resources, but we haven't changed the game plan. And so what happens when there's nowhere else to grow is we start trying to grow internally, which is leading to conflict. That model is no longer serving us. Another problem with growth is it doesn't differentiate between the positive and negative growth. Cancer creates growth. You know, locking more people up in prison creates growth. Forest fires on the West Coast create growth. Hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico create growth. As a systems designer, I understand the importance of incentivization. What are we incentivizing? What do we want to incent? When we're designing systems, what we incentivize for is what we're going to get. So we need to start to rethink. We need to rethink, what is it that we wish to incentivize? What do we consider to be success? How are we going to measure our success? And so the founding father of this country had a really powerful intention: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Instead of measuring our success by growth or GDP and gross domestic product, what if we started to measure our success by life? Did you know that life expectancy in the United States is in decline, despite all of our advancements in medicine, science, and technology? What if we started to measure our success by life expectancy? What if we started to hold our government accountable like it would start to affect policy in ways that would probably benefit our lives? It would impact the private sector in a way where our pharmaceutical industry would probably be seeking cures rather than treatments. What if we started to measure our success by liberty? We're supposed to be the land of the free, but somehow we have more people in prison than any other country in the world. Police reform would happen. Right now, the police department are out there arresting people to get a bigger budget, to hire more cops, to arrest more people, to get a bigger budget, to hire more cops. It's growth. It's just growing to the end of victimless crimes. We wouldn't have more people in prison than anywhere in the world. We'd see a decline in that. We'd start to see people get the help that they need rather than being locked up. There are a lot of things. We have half of the people in our prisons today are there for victimless crimes. No one's been harmed other than the individual that's been locked up. We might start to give them the mental health and social services that they ultimately need, rather than ineffectively locking them up at great expense to us. Let's start measuring our success by freedom, and then ultimately the pursuit of happiness. The kingdom of Bhutan measures its success by the happiness of its people. What if we measured our success by happiness? So life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, these are the ways that you upgrade the operating system of our country. this is how in the year 2030, we could find ourselves living in a very different United States of America because we have a new set of goals. And this is something that we, the people, can impact. You know, what is it that we're expecting out of our government? How do we measure its success? I can go on and talk for hours and hours, but you know, I think that you might have some questions. And so, again, I'd like to thank my friend Bobby for facilitating all of this and answer whatever questions you may have.
Thank you so much. What are we going to do? We take at least 5 questions, and then I know Mr. Ali and Modi and some of the that. So you don't have. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Pierce to take the question, and since we are very respectful, we only have 2 ladies and into your hand. With your permission, I give to Indrajit. Go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, the goal is to connect with everyone, to reach out and be available to everyone, recognizing that we're all important, and that we are all have something to offer. Last night I had dinner with Eric Adams, who's the president of the Brooklyn Borough, to connect with that community. I've been connecting with the Native American and Indigenous communities a lot in the last week. I was in Washington, D.C. and connecting with the African American communities the last 2 days. And so I'm trying to be everywhere I can possibly be. Obviously, because of COVID, the campaign trail is very different than it would usually be, which means I'm in New York quite a bit more because our campaign headquarters are here in the city rather than being on the road constantly. So we're about to, I'll be in Wyoming on Tuesday, and we're beginning a bus tour driving across the country, which will have me back in New York a couple of times. But we're going to be driving across the country, connecting with everybody we possibly can, starting with Wyoming this week. He's saying, yes, you have the people who are supposed to start at the time, start with all this, have yeah, so yeah, so I can answer all of them. I think the first part that I'll answer is I'm 39 years old. I turned 40. I turned 40 in November, which means this is just the beginning of something that is going to last, hopefully, a very long time. So, November 4th, whatever happens, I'm not going anywhere. And so, I hope this is not just, this is the beginning of a friendship that lasts a very long time between all of us. I guess one of the other questions was, what, there's discrimination and things, and what can I specifically do for the Southeast Asian in America? I think that the last part of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, happiness is something that a lot of people struggle to achieve because they feel like they don't have a voice. They feel like they've been discriminated against. They feel desperate. They feel like their back is up against the wall. That's why we're seeing so many problems right now in this country, is people are feeling desperate. People are feeling voiceless. People are feeling unseen. We have to remember that every one of us matters. No one left behind. Until this country gets that right, we're going to continue to have problems. And I think it starts with going back in time. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of healing that has to occur. It starts with the conquistadors came here in 1492, 1493, and the impact that had on the indigenous people in the Caribbean, South Central, and North America. It then led to the Africans that were brought here against their will, against their consent. History, what we've been taught, is not all true. There are a lot of lies, a lot of covering up of things that we did. And until we go back in time and start to acknowledge the past, until we start to accept the truth, it makes people feel marginalized. And so we have to go through this healing process of admitting all that has happened. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of abuse, a lot of things that have happened in this country that are not things that we're proud of. But we have to go through that process if we're expected to heal. And so it starts with acknowledgement of how we got here. And then bringing everyone to the table, everyone having a seat at that table and having a voice. And from there, we can collectively decide how we move forward together as a nation. I think that's a big piece of it. Another part of it is when you feel desperate, that desperation or that need to survive takes precedent over our values and principles. And so I'm proposing an idea known as universal earned income, where every person in this country receives a monthly stipend, a monthly check, so that no one in this country is starving, that everyone has some form of shelter that wishes it, and that everybody has access to some form of health care. This is going to be absolutely necessary. COVID has destroyed a lot of small businesses. It's created a lot of unemployment, and the ripple effects of it are going to continue to reverberate. And technology is replacing our jobs. And it's not just service jobs. You know, it's stock pickers, surgeons. Technology is impacting the country in a massive, massive way. And we have to figure out a way to make sure that everyone's most basic needs are met, because the world is changing. I think technology is arguably the biggest issue we face. Artificial intelligence is coming online. That, combined with robotics and automation, the landscape of work is changing. And as I said earlier, we don't have a resource problem. We have a resource allocation problem, an efficiency problem. I believe this can be done without increasing taxes. I believe this can be done by just moving things around, by bringing some efficiency to government. And so I think that we've got a lot of challenges ahead, but there are 21st century solutions to every one of our 21st century problems. Innovation, will be the answer. The answer to all of our problems are going to come from innovative technologies, innovative ideas. It's going to come from something new, something different, hopefully something better, and always something that is inclusive of everyone. Did that answer your question sufficiently? Yes, I'm counting on you. I'm counting on each and every one of you. Well, that's what my friend Bobby's going to show me and tell me, I hope, along with each and every one of you.
I'm sure he will. And I think, Harry, you go next. You can start with the question. It starts on.
Yeah, so my process is really what you want to know. I believe it's very important that we never compromise our integrity. Right? To be clear on our values, our principles, not compromise those things, because it's a slippery slope that takes you somewhere you ultimately don't want to go. And so I've been holding town halls every week on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern to talk to policy advisors, showing that I believe in transparency, rather than conversations being had behind closed doors and with lobbyists, I want you to see who are the people that I consult. What is my process for becoming informed about a subject or a subject matter or an issue? And I'm doing that transparently in such a way that you can actually see what questions I ask. You can observe my process. And this is how I continue, I wish to continue to operate. And that is to help you become informed with me. I believe that we're leaving this sort of era of being talked down to. I believe that we're entering a new age. It's a participatory one, a collaborative one, and for us to be part of that conversation. And I invite you to participate in these conversations with the policy advisors and people that I'm talking to now. You have an ability to, even in these moments, we're using technology where you can actually ask questions of me or those advisors. And so we're doing that now. Because I don't just talk about things in the future. I do things. I've been doing things my whole life, impossible things, over and over. Well, this is unless you're Native American, unless you're indigenous, we're all immigrants. I'm an immigrant on my mother's side from Norway a little over 100 years ago. I'm an immigrant on my father's side by way of England before it was the United States. But we're all immigrants with the exception of the Native Americans. And so I think that immigration is a wonderful thing. I think that we probably need to find some form of amnesty for those people that are here already, not legally. And then we need to have a very legal process that is inviting. We want to bring people to this country that are prepared to contribute. I think that we need to have sound legal immigration and continue to recognize that this is a nation that was built by immigrants and will continue to do so. Teachings, I'm here granted. I'm grateful for this opportunity to spend time with my friend Bobby and each and every one of you and to learn. I'm here to listen. I'm here to understand and to serve all of us the best of my ability. So I'm not controlled by anyone. I'm not beholden to anyone, which means I don't have to change. I can continue to be the same person now and then. I can tell you why, again, I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I love this country and I care deeply about all of us. And I've made a commitment to living my life in service. I've committed my life to serving that. And so I will not compromise that under any circumstances ever. I would rather die. I've made that kind of commitment. I'm here to show up, right? Showing up is half or more of the battle, as they say. And in terms of resistance, you know, this makes me think of like Star Wars, right? The resistance, and we're rebels with a cause. Yeah, this is an area where reform is, you know, will certainly needed. We do not have a system that is feels like equal justice under the law. I believe in law and order. I believe that law and order is the foundation of any well-functioning society. But we don't have a law that, we don't have a system that is treating everyone equally. And that goes back to things like training. You know, it's back to what I said, incentives. We need to change the incentives. We need to change the program. We need to change the training. We need to make sure that there's continual evaluation. And if people are not performing, they need to be let go. This is basic stuff, but for some reason we keep messing it up. Not slinging any mud. And again, remind us to, when fear is present, God is hard to see. We have to remember to fear less and love more. Love is kind of the answer to pretty much everything, and not to succumb to the hate. You know, remember what really matters, and you're not going to see me slinging mud. I'll point out systemic problems. I'll point out the flaws in a system and talk about how that needs to improve. But putting down individuals is not the answer to anything. There's a right way to do that. Yeah, so I think universal earned income is the answer. If you know, in December we're looking at the end of this, it's going to be tough. The truth is, brace yourself. We're in for a rough ride. The ripple effects of what's happened here, the unemployment rates, the impact on our small businesses. But what I think the most important answer collectively, right? How do we strengthen our communities? How do we strengthen our cities? A big part of that is going to remember that we're in this together, and every time you transact, every time you spend money, you are giving power to something. And so to be conscious, to be mindful of what you're empowering matters. This is a time where buying things from your local stores, supporting those local businesses, keeping that money in your community, in your village, in your city, in your state, is going to be very important. The American dream, that thing that has brought many of us to have such faith in this country, has been impacted very negatively. Due to COVID, all of Amazon, Costco, Walmart, they've been the beneficiaries at the expense. The American dream alive by choosing to support those things that we care about and support those people. And I think that universal earned income is going to be the answer. How quickly that can be implemented, neither of the major party candidates are discussing it. So hopefully, whatever happens in this election, bringing these ideas forward, if these ideas become known, if these ideas become discussed, if these ideas become popular amongst the American people, we can end up with these things whomever wins in the election, which is why it's important that we share these ideas. As long as they're implemented, it doesn't really matter to me who ends up in office, as long as we collect.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. I think that no. No. You going to no.
I mean, I would gladly, welcomely participate in that debate. The problem we have with the debates is they used to be run by the Women's League. And after Ross Perot got into the debates, the Democrats and the Republicans got together and took that privilege away from the Women's League to ensure that no third person would ever be on that stage. And so it's especially complicated these days. That's a historical fact. But I would gladly debate. And one of the things that I'm intending to do is I will be giving commentary and responding throughout those debates as if I was there, and or some sort of miracle happens. There is a way, but you need to have a very you need to have 15% or more of the popular vote across 5 of the major polling groups, which we'll see. And it's unclear whether or not the debates are even going to happen. But one of the things that we are planning is here in New York on October 18th, 19th, and 20th, where we put together an event with a number of the independent parties and candidates called the INC. So like they have the Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention. We've created and collaborated to create the INC, and that'll be here in New York. And we'll be having those debates with candidates from most of the major parties.
Our big hand of applause for Brad Pierce. Since you know me, publicly say whatever comes up in my mind. When you came in, I don't know if you were nervous or that's just time. I'm just watching. More time you're spending, better and better you became. Is that part of the energy? Is it like behind the back of your mind? Thank you so much. You answer every question that they had asked. I know Mr. Hoti and Mr. Gill have a couple of questions to ask you privately, which we will do. I want to say thank you to you publicly and try to know the community, and community will know you through this media faster and better than even you expect. When it comes to Sneen Hali's radio program, newspapers, they cover 1.3 million people. They cover, I don't know, a couple million people. Professor's paper read by at least a couple of 100,000, if I'm not mistaken. But they all covered by in thousands, hundreds of thousands. If somebody wasn't good enough, we didn't invite them. I want you to know. So each one of them is very, very important. Satnamji, the guy with the beautiful turban in orange color, he does not carry a newspaper, but he carries himself combined with all the newspapers to serve the people. Good leader, Dr. I just want to say thank you, Dr. for you coming. And there is Dr. Nicole over there. Thank you for coming. And everyone, individually, bottom of my heart, thank you. Mr. Bhutia, I know you don't go to every event. Yeah, I want to say there's never an event that I ever call upon Bhuti, no matter how busy he was, that he did not. And I want you to know, each one of you, I greatly appreciate. Gil Saab, you and Hoti Saab, if you want to ask questions, so we will skip the rest of the thing. But before we take the private question, this is 3-4 individuals. I think everyone should have a individual picture. You can do it in my office if you don't mind. And Kenny, let's go one by one. Kenny, if you can take their pictures, and then we will cover that, and then that's it. Okay. Thank you so much, God bless, and thanks again, and thank you, Brad Pierce and Todd. Thank you.